Hey, everybody, welcome to the Unconventional Therapist Guide to Nothing. My name is Dave. I'm joined here with my co host, Greg. Greg, what's up, man?
Dave, I will tell you what's up. Well,
What's up,
actually,
man?
here's something you don't know that I just recently did this weekend. I booked a small vacation for right after Christmas.
Did you?
Yep, just going up to the mountains in New Hampshire, and I'm going to scream off the top of them so that I do not jump off the top of them. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Sure.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, like in terms of the amount of pressure and work and everything that's been going on this amount of time. Like
So what part of New Hampshire are you going to?
Lincoln.
Lincoln. Good
I don't
old
know
Lincoln,
anything.
New Hampshire.
Good old Lincoln, New Hampshire. I just went onto that. You know how I am with technology, whatever those things are, where you're living in someone else's house for a little bit. And I rented. I'm gonna rent a car, a big old, Wagoneer or something, and just head up there, like vacation, like Griswold family kind of thing.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Why are you renting a car?
Well, I'm renting a car because we have a car that would fit everyone in it, but I don't think we have a car that would fit everyone and all the stuff we want to bring in it.
Oh, really? You don't?
Well, look, the Forerunner fits all of us tight, and then there's not
Yeah.
really much room for any kind of, I don't know, you're gonna want to bring a sled. You're gonna want to bring something to deter bears, sweaters,
Turd bears.
things like that. Camp wood. Camp
Do you
wood.
ski or snowboard or something?
Um, young Greg Charpentier used to snowboard, but I actually sold my snowboard to take a girl out on a date once.
Oh
Where
boy.
where is she now? You know?
Good good
So
plan
you
there.
so you could tell where my frame of mind is, Dave. I gotta tell you, we were gonna do a different episode this week, and I was talking to you, and you're like, "Why don't we just kind of do Burnout? Because it sounds like you're a little burnt out, my friend." And I think you might be right. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, today's topic is work burnout. And the thing that I think is the most important thing that anyone should take away from this episode is this literally affects everybody.
Hmm.
I mean, we're talking about workplace burnout, but like, substitute the word workplace with whatever it is that you have to
Relationship.
do. It could be relationship, it could be whatever it is, your responsibilities basically. If
Mm.
you're a caretaker for people, if you're a mom, if you're a stay-home dad, whatever, just replace it with anything. You can get burnt out from anything that basically takes up a large chunk of your life, I think, right?
Yeah, and you know what? And I don't even think it's when we're talking about burnout here. I've done a lot of physical jobs in my life, and I'm not even talking about like that kind of physical burnout. And our brains, they're not designed to kind of be focused on something 8, 9, 10 hours a day. That's not how they optimize. They're not muscles that you can just work and then relax. Like when your brain starts, you can't focus, you can't concentrate, it's drifting all over the place, you're getting all kinds of weird thoughts. Like that's your brain being tired, and you're not really getting, if you're doing like thought-based work, which is what we're trying to do, you're not really getting the best stuff because you got to kind of disengage a little bit with that thinking part of
Yeah.
your brain and allow room for like the unconscious to kind of give you some inspiration, right?
You can get burnt out from your hobbies and interests, things that you typically enjoy. And that will be the thing that people will say. If you say, like, oh, you be careful of burnout of that, or like, oh, no, 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 I love doing that, I won't get burnt out. No, that's not true. Like, I can get burnt out from this. I can get
Yeah.
burnt out from all the various hobbies and interests that we engage ourselves in, which we overdo it all the time. And we constantly talk about that on here. So I think we probably experience burnout quite a bit.
I mean, I'm like fried. I mean, my
Fried.
my mustache is frazzled, as the people in the screens can see. Dave, as I was saying that, I was thinking of something. I heard someone say once that fairy tales really represent the relationship we're supposed to have with our unconscious. Because it's the people. Now, if you think of like the people who do well in fairy tales, it's like the people that are talking to the little animals and stuff like that. They're connecting with that animalistic sort of part of their brain that's not just this focus driven thing. And I think that's like sort of part of this, where like we need to stop, like I just want to stop focusing so hard on something and just kind of not focus on anything. And I think that's what vacation and space from this stuff is, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So again, the thing we really want to take home is that anybody and everybody can be affected by burnout. You probably already have, even if you don't know it, and if you haven't yet, you most likely will at some point in time. And when it hits you, it's like you don't always recognize that you're in it. And I think
Yeah.
that's part of the problem. I know, and we'll probably share our personal connections to this topic throughout. But like one thing I can say is before I really knew what it was, it hit me really hard. And I was, you know, doing a job that I had been doing for a long time. And then just one day I woke up and I was so miserable.
Hmm.
And I make it seem like it was one day. It was over a span of time, but it felt like one day I just woke up miserable and I just couldn't break out of it to the point where I took a coworker aside and I said, I hate this freaking job. I hate it. I was like, I'm not happy. I don't want to come here. It actually like pains me to drive to work right now. And talking to him really shed light into what I was experiencing because he had already experienced burnout and he kind of like forewarned me working in human services and I was working with teens with disabilities and behavioral issues and managing all the staff that work there and all the stuff that they would put me through as far as like with scheduling and all that stuff. It was just he was like just identified everything that you have to focus on an everyday basis and how much like I just could never turn it off. And he really did point out like you really have to go home and disengage.
Hmm.
And if you don't, you are living and breathing your job, and then you will get burnt out to the point where you will not survive your job. And
Yeah,
I
no, that's
changed the
heavy.
way that I approached work after that, and some of the strategies we'll talk about, like I completely, have approached it in a different way now since then, and that was like ages ago. That was like 14 years ago. So yeah, all right. So Greg, can
Yeah.
you walk us through some of the causes of burnout?
Yeah. So prolonged stress is certainly going to be one of the causes, and just being constantly stressed out. You don't have enough time. I think a good formula to think of is it's like when the resources don't match the demands. Like there's so much being asked of you and you just don't have the resources to do it. And by resources, what I mean, what are we talking? We're talking time. We're talking, I mean, it could be money. It could be like you just don't have the capacity to do everything that's asked of you. And you see this a lot with teaching. You see this a lot with healthcare. You see this a lot with us, with the work we do, emergency services. I mean, but any job really that's asked that has high demands, and even high demands could just be like it's requiring you to go there every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just this idea of like you get to the point where you're waking up in the morning and like, oh my God, I gotta do this again, right? It's kind of the feeling.
Yeah.
So it's like this occupational strain, and like I mentioned, teaching, nursing, the jobs that require like long hours, and I think especially, and not to disregard anybody else's, what they're doing, but I think the jobs that have like a responsibility to people, like taking care of people, that you when like people, it doesn't even have to be taking care of people, but if you're in some way emotionally involved, there could be more guilt with taking a step away from these kinds of jobs. So I think that
Sure.
that plays a pretty big role.
I almost feel like you're almost more susceptible to getting this if you actually are really invested in your job.
Yeah.
Because if you are invested in your job, you are more likely to go above and beyond. You're more likely to be a yes person. You're more likely to maybe even take that job outside of its 9 to 5 hours or whatever the hours you work may be, and that's a really dangerous thing to do for this reason.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, if you're working in a place, I guess what you're saying too, Dave, right there is it gets hard if you care.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if we've all had those jobs that we could give a shit less about. And they're not very stressful. Like you might be like, I don't really feel like doing this, but you leave and it's gone. You
Right.
don't you don't think about it anymore. And I think that's a really, I don't know, maybe there's something beautiful in that. Just like a manual labor. I've done that for years. And you work outside and then when you leave, the thought of it is just gone. You don't think about it for a second.
Wow. Wow, dude, that really does sound beautiful.
It is. Yeah, thanks. That's Dave being facetious about my burnout. So
Sounds freaking beautiful, bro.
so and Dave, the other thing is too, and I will say this is from personal experience, and I'm not going to give a personal experience, not because I just don't have something
Oh,
specific
he's
in
too
my mind.
cool. He's too cool.
But I will say that when you're at a workplace, maybe don't make me give it personal. You know I could. When you're at a I'm talking about you. No, I'm just kidding. When you're at work and you're frustrated and you're trying your best and people really aren't seeing that, or you're not getting any sense that what you're doing is having an impact, or you're not appreciated. Your work is not appreciated. That's
Yeah,
to me that word appreciated. I think sometimes if I just felt like what I was doing was really, really appreciated, and clients, patients, whatever you want to say, they kind of really do make me feel that way. But maybe like management or other like areas of
yeah,
where you work, if they're not making you feel appreciated, people would crawl through glass. I mean, that's in relationships too. If they feel like if someone feels like what they're doing is really valued, man, does that change the perspective on what you're doing?
dude, I would totally crawl through a hole in glass if someone cut out that hole and I wasn't going to hurt myself. I would totally do
Yeah.
that if I felt
Yeah.
appreciated.
I know that you know what I'm talking about here.
I'm going to be honest with you. This is the crazy contradiction that I live in. I
Mm,
love working a job where I'm not micromanaged and I'm allowed to fly free, right? And like not feel like someone's constantly watching me and they have trust in me. But when I'm burnt out, it annoys me that I'm not getting that attention or getting that positive feedback about my performance. But it's like a thing that I've created by wanting to work so independently and freely. You know what I mean?
yeah, you're a walking paradox, Dave.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you something though, that makes sense. They say when you're tired or when you're stressed, like demons that you've defeated years ago come back to haunt you. And I get that. Like when you're tired and you're burnt out and you're just go in it, you want someone to be like, "Good job, like you're doing good,
Yeah, yep,
you're
100%.
doing good."
100%. Even just recognizing like, wow, you really are taking on a lot. I hope you're taking care of yourself. You're doing a great job, but just, be careful. Stuff like that goes so
Yeah,
long. So if you're a supervisor of people, this is something that I also had to like after I had my own experience with it, I really had to start to watch out for other people as I was managing people. And when you start to notice signs in people, pulling them aside and saying, giving them that extra attention, but also saying like, hey, it seems like you might be kind of what's it, burning the candle on both ends? Is that what they say?
yeah,
There you go.
I
It's a
love
good
that
one,
one
right?
actually. Yeah, yeah. And how long's that gonna last?
Right. I don't know how you like actually enjoy that candle because you got to hold it the whole time if it's
Yeah,
burnt on both ends. That's a
put it
weird
on its
actual.
side.
Has anyone actually ever done that?
I don't think so.
Because it's
It's
stupid if you
not
did
it's not
that.
practical.
You're holding the candle because you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, you can put it on its side, but who's going to do that? So
Mm, dangerous. Fire hazard. Dave, why don't we talk about speaking of danger, why don't we talk about some warning signs of this thing?
danger, danger. All
Yeah.
right, all
Meow,
right.
meow.
Meow, meow. That's horrible sound effects. All right. We need a machine or
That's
something.
our budget.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be cool if we had a machine. I just press a button and like,
Yeah.
all right, enough of that. Yeah, so we got 5 early warning signs that you might be getting burnt out. These are things to pay attention to. So the first one is this all encapsulating exhaustion. Now,
Mm.
there's 2 types of exhaustion we want to watch out for. The first one being like physical exhaustion, just that feeling of just constantly being tired and having no energy or stamina. Um, and then there's the other kind. I was gonna make a joke about that would have been
I
totally
knew you were doing
inappropriate.
as soon as
Oh
stamina,
man,
as soon as stamina came out, I was like, oh boy, here he goes.
I was gonna say let's not talk to Greg. Never mind, never mind. All right. Moving on. I didn't say it. I just you know what I'm saying. And then the next one is emotional exhaustion, um, which is just as bad. So just kind of feeling emotionally drained, overwhelmed by like everyday responsibilities, and just having lack of interest in work or even like social activities outside of work. Um,
Sounds a
so
little like early, like, depression.
It
I
does, it does. Like, so for the physical exhaustion, some other examples are like difficulty waking up in the morning,
Mm.
needing to take breaks often during work, and having less motivation to be physically active. You're right. All that sounds exactly like depression.
Yeah.
Is burnout just a form of depression, like a temporary form of depression? It kind of
Yeah, maybe yeah, it
sounds a
seems
lot
almost
like
like
it.
a yeah. And well, yeah, of course, except that there's something to point to that you can kind of address that's some with depression, usually it's like, it's ambiguous what it could be, it's sort of
Yeah.
biological.
So
But
here's
where does
my
eye twitching fit into this? Because my eye's been twitching.
it does.
Yeah,
It
okay,
does, and we'll get to that one. Actually, that happens to me too when I get stressed and stuff like that. I get
yeah.
this eye twitch. It freaked me out the first times I noticed it. You want to know what's crazy? I actually don't. Maybe it's not depression because having two jobs. I don't know if you experience this. I feel differently going to on the days I have my other job than I do with one job.
One you feel more burnt out than the other. Yeah, well, that needs to be addressed.
Do you agree with that? That maybe that kind of makes
Oh,
it
absolutely.
not depression then?
Absolutely, yes. Because it's something it's stress, because it's your perception of an event.
Right.
Yeah,
So
you're
there's one day where I'm able to I getting up happens. I have to get up, otherwise I will fall back asleep. So I automatically get up, but the shower time. So it's less about getting out of bed. For me, it's my shower. One day it's like a 45-minute shower. Another day it's like a 20-minute shower. So yeah,
those are both
like,
really long showers.
are they?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm so clean though.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, you have to be.
I'm exaggerating with 20, so I guess maybe, but like, yeah, the other day is pretty bad. All right. Um, the next one, and I think this one resonates with me too, is cynicism and detachment.
Yeah.
So just having like this sense of cynicism toward your work, um, and just feeling very emotionally like, yeah, detached from it, and like having like the job that you would normally feel very vested in and feeling very maybe motivated, or just feeling like you care about the outcomes to certain things, just feeling like, or just
Yeah.
like it just never gonna change. What's the point? You know, those kind of
Right.
attitudes.
Absolutely, and as you are having that kind of attitude, that's obviously going to be something that's affecting your performance at work.
Right.
Which can wait, so now your performance is going down, and I kinda talked about that a little bit, how, trying to use your brain for that long of a time when you're not really, motivated to be in it, it's like, man, that's just gonna make you more and more tired, and then as your performance goes down, that's gonna kinda contribute to even more burnout because you're like,
Yeah.
"Why am I killing myself? I'm not even really doing a good job here. Do I even really am I even good at this?" And you start to question yourself.
Oh my god, yeah.
You go down a rabbit hole with this
Jeez,
stuff,
I know
right?
these thoughts. I know these thoughts. And then also like just with that detachment and attitude, it kind of causes you to stop communicating as
Mhm.
much with people, which then in turn feels like you're not feeling supported, but and it causes like these workplace misunderstandings,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Just
And you gotta remember though, like this lack of performance or reduced performance, temporary, of course. And it doesn't really say anything about, the way like how you are at your job. It doesn't mean that you've become terrible at your job or you're never gonna be good at your job or you're not gonna get that spark back again. I think sometimes it's just that thing where we need to step away. Like if they I like that saying when people say, I need to walk away for a little bit and then like give this thing a fresh set of eyes. Like have you ever like
yeah,
been trying to untie a knot or I remember when I was in the Navy, it was always like getting like a little like bolt in somewhere. I would, you'd be trying it and trying it and trying it. And then if you just walk away for a little bit and then try it again, for whatever reason, it's like a reset and you can really
sure.
approach these things.
Or how about like if you love something, let it go. And if it comes back to you, that it was meant to be.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
quote too,
You know,
right?
it's that is a quote. It certainly is. Now, as I go through these, though, and maybe I'm kind of putting my own personal experience in this, I am hearing a lot of like parallels with, and maybe it's not appropriate to go in this direction, but like I am hearing a lot of parallels with like relationships. Don't like in a sense where it's like
Sure.
if like you're getting burnt out from the relationship and it kind of causes like irritability and
Sure.
stress And maybe it's the same thing. Like maybe it's like you
So
need to,
you're saying maybe you should step away?
yeah. Like maybe I'm saying I should go to New Hampshire by myself. Uh,
It's a good thing no one in your family
I
is
know. Hey,
listening
look,
for
yeah,
this.
exactly. They'll never hear. This is the safest place for me to talk about that.
We just yeah, we just have to worry about the little one.
That's it. Yeah, he might hear it and be like, "Oh boy, is my family over?"
Daddy, don't leave to New Hampshire.
Yeah. He's never
Oh
coming
boy.
back. Yeah, and Dave, this kind of stuff can really, you would think that taking a step back, all kidding aside, would be, we often feel like it would be like damaging. I feel that way all the time. Last year I never took a week off of QB, wherever we work. I don't know if we're supposed to say.
No
But anyway,
plugs, no
that,
plugs.
that one place with no free plugs. Wh- so like because I feel like I have responsibility to people, and if I don't show up for them, then like maybe something can go wrong, or maybe they'll whatever. But like if I never take that step back, I can never really give them my best, and so it might be
Yeah.
important to take a step
it's
back.
it's the same advice we give people who
Um,
are just people pleasers and always putting people before themselves. I said you got to take care of yourself, even if it makes, because they'll always say like it makes me feel guilty prioritizing myself. If you don't take care of yourself, then you're not going to be any good to anybody else around you. So if you do care about those people, take care of yourself. So
mm,
it's
the airplane thing. I knew
the
everyone says
airplane
that.
thing. The
Everyone says
airplane
that.
thing.
Yeah, it
Put
is.
your mask on first so that you don't pass out and you're unable to help everyone around you, right?
By the time you get your mask on, like everyone's passed away around you.
You're like, well,
I made
I made it
it.
and I tried. I tried my best.
And that's all you
Um,
can really do.
so sign number three is that thing that you keep referring to. It's that reduced performance. And we're not talking about Greg's issue with stamina and performance in the where. We're talking
Okay,
about
this is
at
big
work.
news.
You're bringing up relationship stuff. So you're setting yourself up, Greg. You're seeing
That's
a lot of parallels to this.
I
You've
know, yeah.
experienced symptoms.
Well, if only that was the issue. I mean,
So reduced performance. Yeah, I think that's it. Just decreased productivity.
mhm,
Just more carelessness. Just all these things that kind of it's almost like self-fulfilling prophecy, because you start
yeah.
to like you have that cynicism about the job, you start to question yourself, and then your performance starts to become affected by this, and then it's almost like, see, maybe I'm not good at my job because I just messed up on this.
It's like you're
i
in the weeds. Like you can't see the forest through the trees. You need to
i
get
gotta
an
tell you,
aerial
this
view.
this was a terrible topic to do, because like as we're going through this, I'm like, damn dude, I'm in tough shape right
You're
now.
3 for 3 with warning signs.
Everything here
Yeah.
is like screaming at me.
No, of
uh
course. Of course. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, how could it not be? Dave, honestly, we're like 70-hour a week people.
Yeah,
It's a
we're not
lot.
going to be able to do this podcast much longer, because in a few weeks, all my electricity is going to be shut off after I lose my job and I can't pay my bills. So,
Oh, someone's
um,
catastrophizing if you want to go back to the last week's.
oh,
I said,
got it.
well, I mean, you got to follow along
Good.
to get these little inside jokes. Listen, physical symptoms are a real thing because you know, cortisol. The body's releasing cortisol, stress hormone, and that plays. I mean, cortisol is meant to get you out of a tough situation quick, and then it's harmless, right? It's got you. It's engaging your sympathetic nervous system. It's very important in that way. It's perfectly healthy. But if you have low levels of stress all the time, then that cortisol is constantly just going through your system, causing damage, causing it can be causing damage to your heart. It could be causing gastrointestinal issues, which, that's talk about stress. I mean, you don't want to be having, I don't know, let's not get crass, but
Your head just went to there, but that could be like also just like stomach pains and
yeah.
nausea. But your head went somewhere totally different.
So did yours.
No, it
Diarrhea.
didn't. No, it
Oh,
didn't. Not until you
okay.
said that.
All right. So headaches, of course. You see these people, or even yourself,
This is where
run
I feel like the eye twitch thing
headaches.
comes in.
What is it?
The eye twitch
Oh,
is what
yeah,
comes in here.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
I
and
get
the
I get the headaches
tension
too from this.
headaches,
Yeah.
the nausea. To me, not so much nausea, just I don't know. I guess I've had stomach pains from stress for sure, right? I mean, we all kind of do.
Can I
Um,
tell you something weird that happened to me once?
yeah, please.
I broke out with these weird like bumps all over my stomach and chest.
Like hives.
No, they were weird looking.
Okay.
They were
Are we
like,
sure that was related? Stress bumps?
yeah. No, I went to the dermatologist and they
Mhm.
told me it was stress related. It was like college work that was stressing me out. I was failing out of college. I guess that will do it to you.
Yeah, no, that'll do it. So,
I thought it was because I was using the public bathrooms. We had like to share things. I was like, I think I
wow.
caught something.
I mean, like that is your stress can manifest in physical. I mean, we know that conversion disorder and somatic symptom disorders. There's
Sure.
you get
I've
anxious
I've
and
never had it again either. It was like the weirdest thing. And I like my head was running wild. Like I said, I thought it was the shared bathrooms. I was also having pretty wild times at that time. So it's
I
like
would say, are you
so
using
many
any
things.
new detergents? That would be my
That
question.
was the last thing on my mind because out of all the things I was doing.
Are you using any
So
detergents at all? That would be another question from
yeah,
college.
yeah.
So yeah, no, it's yeah, no, that's I've had I've certainly heard of like stress rashes. Remember
Yeah,
Woogie
that's what I
from Something About
yes.
Mary?
Yeah, exactly. Stress rashes are kind of like I feel a little bit more common than like weird bumps.
Stress bumps is sort of
Boils.
a one and done kind of
It's
thing.
stress boils, I
Yeah,
think they were
that's the
called.
kind of thing that you get named after you when you go to the doctor for it, you know?
Yeah.
So of course, obviously, when you're talking about stress bumps, we're talking about there's going to be increased anxiety, and we don't really have to get into what anxiety looks like. I think we all kind of understand what anxiety looks like, and if not, we have a plethora of episodes, especially the anxiety episode would be a good one to check out. But to me, what I notice and which makes me a little uncomfortable when it comes to burnout is I notice that I do get irritable, and I don't like that at all because I feel like that's not who I am. That doesn't represent me, and I notice it. I notice it. Not short tempered. I wouldn't say that, but just short, and just leave it at that. You know,
You
where
just
it's
noticed
like,
that you're very short.
yeah, yeah, I'm very short, and that upsets me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, like, is that a part of it for you, the irritability?
I don't want to hear nothing.
I know, and I hate that. I don't.
I don't want people. I'm like, people want to give me feedback. I'm like, I don't want your feedback. Get out of here.
Yeah, it's like, what do you
Oh, yeah. I actually, yeah, I get irritable.
know?
It's like weird though, because I try my best to like hide it because I know it's not appropriate in
Mhm.
the workplace. So I'll do my best to like pull myself together, but I know that it also comes off as still as like detected. But it's probably more like I'm just coming off as like,
Impatient or
yeah, or
yeah,
snotty or like, I don't know
yeah, yeah,
really
yeah.
what to say. But it's like, yeah, I had it recently. I like got super irritable over something that happened and I had to like cool off and then make a phone call to somebody and ask them a couple questions to like just to see where my viewpoint was. And they're like, it was something so small to them. And I was like so riled up about it.
Was that where we are, or is that somewhere
No,
else? Oh,
no,
okay.
please.
Yeah, that's
We are.
pretty laid back over there. But I'll tell you, it's yeah, it's uncomfortable when you allow external events to kind of change who you are for a little while. And that is uncomfortable. That's very anti what because you can't control,
Yeah.
the things in your environment all the time. You can't control how people are going to act. You can't control, what's going to go on at work or the things that are going to happen in your daily life. The only thing you can control is your reaction to it. And if your reaction to it sucks, that means that that's in your control and you're allowing
Yeah.
that to happen. That's hard.
And again, like going back to this idea that this could impact us all or any person at any time, it doesn't mean you necessarily hate your job.
No.
And it doesn't mean that you shouldn't do your job anymore. It is about understanding that these things can happen
Mhm.
and there are strategies to help prevent them from happening or even just kind of get through it as soon as you notice it happening, but don't feel like it's a bad thing that it's happening to you or that like you're a bad person or that your job like it's kind of it's
You're weak.
catastrophizing.
Yeah,
It's
it is.
catastrophize to like an experience, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
and that you will get through it as long as you take some steps to take care of yourself.
All right. So you're talking strategery here.
Yeah.
What kind of steps are we talking about?
Well, this first step is probably the most useful and important one that was taught to me and that I've implemented in my and I've actually been early on when we both started our journey working together. I shared it with you because I noticed that you didn't really always do this, but
Okay.
it's
Light up me. What's
setting clear boundaries.
Oh, I still struggle with that. I think
I know
that
you do, and I don't try to change you, but
yeah.
I when early on you used to you were way worse. I don't know if
Thank
I
you.
don't think you're as bad as you used to be. What'd you
Okay.
say?
I said thank you. Uh,
But
you
what I mean by that is like you have work hours, you have, and when you're outside of your work hours, you should be outside of your work hours,
yeah.
and also, you know, as far as like dropping everything to like do a work assignment or taking work home or there's just all the different ways that sometimes we blur lines between work and personal life. You really do need to set the clear boundaries, like this is as far as I go, and beyond that I'm not going to do anymore.
Mm,
I'm pretty good with like this is when my work day ends, and after that I'm not doing any more work. I'm less good with that when it comes to some paperwork that I do take home, but that stuff
yeah.
doesn't really burn
That's
me
not
out
really
too much.
stressful.
I like, because honestly, if I don't do it, I'll do it another day. Um, but I won't do certain things outside of my work hours. And sometimes I've been asked, like, can you do this? And I'm like, sorry, I end at my day at like whatever time. Um, but
You know, that
you
is something that I really do think in the new year and after my mountain trip, I'm going to really focus on. I really do. I really am.
Can I give people examples of things that I used to witness you do that like
Oh,
were kind
please.
of examples of this?
Yeah.
Like you would schedule a session with someone at a random time that you normally would never do a session. It was like not your work hours. It was
Yeah.
like your free time and you do a random session at like 7, and you would go in person. You would drive to the office to do like a 7 to 8 o'clock randomly
Mhm.
because you were trying to fit that person in for the week. So your intentions were super good. You're being conscientious. You wanted that person to get a session. Maybe you wanted a couple extra bucks for the week. Whatever. I know that that probably doesn't sound good, but hey, we're professionals. We're trying to get paid too. Um, but at the same time, that interferes with your off work time, and it interferes with your personal life. It interferes with your relationships. It makes everything stressful for you. It might not be in that exact moment that it makes it stressful, but that accumulates and it builds up, and it starts to impact things more and more and more, and then that builds up more and more stress in your life.
Yeah, and people kind of appreciate boundaries too. Or and when I say that, I mean like, you know, if I have a friend who like so when I hear you saying, all right, well, no, I can't do that appointment for you because that's outside my work hours. And like, you know, people tend to respect that. Like people
No
respect.
one's like, "Oh, you're a bastard."
I
Like,
know. Yeah, you're right.
you won't come in at 7 and, like, when you're not working and see me. No one says
Yeah,
that, right?
I really need to, you know, because that's the thing, right? It's like we're in a caring profession,
Yeah.
and I care, but then I can't make it to where I'm like driving in and being like, "Ugh, are you kidding me right now?" Like it's, you know what I mean? Where
Right,
I
right. But
want to be.
you need to be able to also expose yourself in your off hours to the things that provide you joy and happiness and your other responsibilities, which are
Yeah,
more than just work. Work is one responsibility in our life. The rest of them are just as important. And the other thing that is a really important thing that our mentor, when we first started, shared with us is by not being forever available, you put more responsibility on the individuals, your patients that see you, to be taking care of themselves. If I want to see Greg, I need to make appointments ahead of time. I
yeah,
can't call him last minute and expect him to drop everything. So if my health is important to me, I have to be actively scheduling my appointments and making sure I do that ahead of time, because I know Greg has his own parameters and his own schedule, and I need to fit myself into his schedule. So it actually is an important thing for us to put that ownership on the patient.
absolutely. And another thing you can do is obviously seek support from either the people you work with Or see a therapist. I don't want to keep like harping on the therapist thing, but that's they can provide,
Greg
value.
saw one 3 times. It was awesome for him.
I did. Yeah, no, I haven't been back in a while, but I mean to get back in. And I want to because it's funny because it's like it is nice to have someone look at your life with a different set of eyes and say, "Hey, look, maybe they see something from their angle that you can't see from yours."
Wait, I thought you were doing phone calls.
No, no, I was going in.
Wait, you went in?
Yeah, I went in.
Oh wow.
Why, are you surprised by that?
I thought you did telehealth.
No, I don't even do telehealth. I'd rather not do telehealth at all. Um, except sometimes it's kind of nice. But yeah, it's just one of those things where like getting someone else's opinion, um, talk to someone who gets you. Make sure you do that because you don't want someone kind of belittling or making light of it, whatever it is. But
Unless
so
that's what you're into.
yeah, unless you like that, maybe that helps. I don't know. What else we got, Dave? Yeah, this is important, right? We're talking about these things that can kind of, I mean, they feel
Like what
obvious.
is the way into the episode you're like questioning if this is important? Wait,
It
this
is
topic's
important.
important, right?
It is. It is. I feel better already. You're just
Right.
kind of chatting about it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it is. What else can we
Um,
do? What else can we do there, Dave?
so you can practice self-care.
Mhm.
So, your diet, your sleep schedule, um, working out, exercising, all that stuff. For me, self-care is more than that though, and I'm sure you probably agree. Self-care is also taking time and enjoying things that I enjoy and, having hobbies and interests. That was when I would train
Mhm.
employees. I would always take time to talk to them about and ask them like, what are your hobbies? What are your interests? What do you do outside of work? And a lot of younger people don't. I notice this is a weird thing because I never thought about this, but like, I didn't even think about myself between like 18 and 21. They don't have a lot of hobbies and interests. Not all of them. Some of them do, but it was very common for like the younger people to not have like things that they could think of. They're like going out with friends, and I was like, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Playing
also
video
that can
games.
kind of like make you exhausted if you're up all night because you're
Yeah.
out partying with your
Oh no,
friends.
that's
But
that's you're coming at it from your
from my
perspective.
own
Yeah,
perspective,
because I tell you right now, like once you're 40 and someone's like, "Hey, do you want to go out?" and you'd be like, "At 9 o'clock? Are you
yeah,
crazy?" Like,
right.
no, no, thank you.
But
Uh,
like, but I do think it's important for people to have hobbies and interests. I don't care if it's bird watching or hiking or whatever. It's important because like those are things that take you out of
mhm.
your work responsibilities or whatever responsibilities that
Shift
stress
your
you out.
focus. Yeah, the focus of your attention is going to drive your mood. That's
Yeah,
that's we
that
would.
was very helpful to me. So that's something I always share with people.
Yeah, you know what's helpful to me? This one, and I mean this. It's a very stoic principle about building resilience. This idea that like doing hard things on purpose. I guess you could put the gym into that, but and it could be anything like cold shower, going out in the cold, sleeping on the floor. Like, I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but like putting yourself through difficult little tasks on purpose so that when you run into them in your life or in the workday, it's not as bad. It's like something that's thousands of years old that people have been doing. And I find that for me, waking up at 5 in the morning and going to the gym has been something that like has both, if I'm being completely honest, has both helped me in one way where it's like I guess I feel better and stronger and all those things. But I am more tired, obviously, right? I mean, so it's like I don't know. It's but it does make the day more approachable. Like you've already sort of accomplished something, and
Yeah,
that's a mood, right? I mean that
yeah,
that is approaching the day with a certain mood.
yeah.
Um,
And then I guess the other thing to plan for is those things that help you if there's for whatever reason like you can't do those things for a period of time or like they're not accessible to you, what are you going to do instead? So if your thing is going for hikes but like cold weather or like snow deters that at times, what's your alternative? um some people don't think that way, but this is all about prevention. This is all about thinking ahead, being proactive versus waiting for that moment where you need those things and suddenly you don't know what to do.
yeah, it's also like if you're experiencing burnout, like you can ask yourself those questions before you even approach any of these, coping strategies. It's like, well, have I been like doing things that I enjoy? Have I been taking enough time off work? Have I been setting boundaries? Have I been resting? Have I been, you know, and it's like if the answer is no to those things, it's like, all right, well, like let me see if I approach those things, if I'll feel a little bit better. It's almost when I have someone who's depressed and I have that list of 10 things depression hates about you. It's like I like having a big list of things because they could say to themselves, all right, well, I'm not doing all the things I could do. And maybe that's part of the reason. Maybe if I start working towards the things that are supposedly, even though I don't really believe it yet, supposed to make me feel better, then maybe I'll get some kind of relief. And I think
Yeah.
that's to
Or
have a lot of tools.
even if that relief is just a sense of accomplishment that you did
Yeah.
something, you know?
Yeah. And maybe it is taking a little bit of time off work. I mean, just recognizing that you
Oh,
need to,
vacation is important.
I mean, I
You don't
haven't,
even have to call it vacation. It can
yeah.
just be taking time off, but it is important to take some time off.
Yet to even get out of like this will be the first time, like I'm not even kidding, that I've gone on a vacation, quote unquote. It's only like 4 days, but like in years, years. So I mean, I'm kind of looking forward to this, and I hope it is like a nice recharge.
Yeah.
Well, I want to try to write something. I don't know, or
Yeah.
maybe who knows.
Right. One of your like weirdly sexual like short stories.
Yeah, I plan on it.
And then we'll make it into a movie again.
Okay, good. Yeah, because that went so well last time.
Oh boy.
Anyway, talk about stress. Um,
So that's burnout.
that is burnout.
Ta-da.
Hopefully people aren't burnt out listening to it. Dave, why don't you share? Because this came to I saw this when I was driving, and I always love a fan mail.
Why were you looking at your phone while you're driving?
It's a good question. That doesn't have a good answer. I'm sorry. It was at a red light. I knew it was a long red light too, so I knew I had time for a
You would
quick.
just pause that movie that you were watching on your phone and you were just checking some fan mail.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Let's put my makeup on.
So yeah, this one is from a new place that we have not um had right to us yet. So it's from El Monte, California.
Mm.
I don't know where El Monte is actually. I gotta look that up. So they just wrote this, and this is so cool. Love your show. Listening to interesting mental health topics and not feeling like I'm taking CEs. So
Someone in
CEs
the
would,
field. Yep.
yeah, someone in the field for sure. I wish you had merch. Hoodies and shirts would be so cool. Don't stop making these shows. Also, would support you if you had Patreon. And this is so funny because a couple of weeks ago, Greg just talked about setting up a Patreon
Oh yeah, put it on me.
and he has not done it yet. You did. You volunteered to do it. You
Yeah,
said we
no,
should do a
I
Patreon.
don't
I
mean
said,
I
go
don't mean
ahead,
like
man.
yeah, no, I think we should for like extra like if people want, have a question or really want us to address something
All
very
right.
personal, I don't know.
Stop.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Don't give away everything. So we are hoping to put together a Patreon. First of all, thank you so much for that fan mail. We appreciate you just taking the time out to express that. But the Patreon thing is something that we do hope to do. We had some ideas for tiers, bonus content, and just things that I think people will. We hope people that regularly listen will be into. Um, I just am waiting for Greg to make the Patreon.
Yeah, Greg's getting on it.
Yeah.
Soon after vacation. So the other
So outside of editing the all the episodes and the social media stuff and the graphics and everything like that, at some point I'll get to doing the Patreon and I'll hopefully have that up for everybody rather
Dave is the
soon.
man. I know, guys. It's true. Dave, I want to mention, I don't know if you've been seeing this, talking to this guy from Wales.
Yeah, I stayed out of the conversation. All right, so if you guys ever message us, one of us will respond, and then like the other one will. Well, if I see that Greg's in a conversation with someone, I'll stay out of the conversation.
Yeah,
If I'm in a conversation with someone, Greg
I'll
will
jump right in.
pretend like I didn't respond and then have a whole new response. And I'm like, what are you doing? But yeah. So I saw that you were, which is really cool.
Yeah, he seems like a really he's in the field as well, and he is. I just think it's so cool. Like someone out in Wales, I just picture like the waves crashing on the rocks, history, so much cool stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, it's a really cool conversation I'm having with him. He's talking a lot about um Essentially, we're on the same page where he's got a topic that he's interested in, and I'll bring it up, and I think we're gonna do it. It's really
Oh,
cool.
all right.
It's
We
heady
have a
though.
lot of, I was going to
Yeah.
say, we have to start to really nail down some of our recommendations from fans because we've been getting a ton lately or over time. So they're really starting to build up. So I promise you, we will get to them all. We just really have an extensive list of topics, our own, plus also all the ones that have been recommended along the way. And we do our best to kind of like vary them. Um, so we'll get to them. Trust me. Everyone that you guys throw out is getting added to the list.
Hmm. That's
Greg,
true.
I had something I wanted to share with you, just to hopefully brighten up your day and kind of show the impact that you have on people.
Okay.
So I referred someone to you who has developmental disabilities and is he exists at my other job. Like he's someone that I've worked with at times, but like I'm not working with him currently. But I saw him today at the adult day center, and he was wearing his Greg hat, and I
Hmm.
went up to him and he wasn't in a great mood, actually. And he said, I miss Greg. Because he always asks about you when he sees me, and he or mentions you when he sees me, and he goes, "I miss Greg," and he's like, "I guess a recent appointment must have gotten canceled or something like that." I was like, well, I don't know if it was on Greg's end because he had like recently he had some, things in his house that he had to take care of. So I know he had to cancel some appointments. But like, anyways, I was like, you just let your staff know and they'll make an appointment for you. So he was like he was a little like down in the dumps about it. But later as I was leaving, he came back up to me with his little Greg hat on, which I thought was so funny. And he's wanted me to tell you he said hi, and he was holding his a Christmas stocking he made.
Uh,
So I was like, "You want me to take a picture of you and show him?" And he's like, "Yeah." So he went in front of like a Christmas tree and he's holding a Christmas stocking
oh
with
man,
his
he is.
Greg hat on.
I miss him too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
I gotta show you that picture tomorrow when I see you because he wanted me to share that with you.
hanging up in the office.
See, so and think about that, Greg. Like that was totally out of your wheelhouse working with him.
Hmm.
Kind of a new
It was.
experience, and like it feels good sometimes to like feel like you're able to connect with individuals that maybe you don't feel the most confident with.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels great. It really does. Yeah, and you're right. It's not really my area. Certainly not my area of expertise. But you know what? You learn things like if you really try and you wanna connect with someone, you can find a way.
And sort of the reverse, like maybe don't try so hard because maybe what they're looking for or what's going to work for them isn't something that you like is like completely out of your grasp. I think
Yeah.
for him, one of the biggest things that's effective for him is just feeling connected to somebody.
Yeah.
I don't think it's anything you had to like teach
Y-
yourself, right? It was just
No,
being
not
yourself
really.
with him,
Yeah. Yeah.
make him
Yeah.
laugh a few times and,
Yeah. He's great.
just
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. He's great. Well,
So
Dave, that is your area of expertise. I'll give you that. Yeah, this was good. I'm glad that we tackled this. And next time we'll be coming with something. What, Dave? Are we doing Christmas stuff? And we have so much Christmas stuff like in the
I actually have a thought that I'm going to share with you off air, but I think, the ultimate Christmas episode.
great. I want to hear it. And so, but for people who want to hear previous Ultimate Christmas episodes, check out our past Christmas releases because I think
So
that
we've only done two.
okay, both are good.
I really love the Krampus and all the
Yeah,
other like
me
that
too. I
episode,
love that episode. Yeah,
but the other episode was also interesting because we talked about different cultures and different countries.
Origin. Yeah, that was
But
great.
the one before that, that Krampus episode, I think is funny.
Uh, It's top notch.
It really is. People need to listen.
Let's
We
see.
can re-release it on Christmas week or something. Who knows? Maybe
Yeah, yeah. Maybe we'll do that. I think we should get that one out
like
there.
as an additional, so people
Yeah, like
can.
a special Christmas episode.
That's already
But
been done.
but
But
it's already been
yeah,
done. Yeah, re-release, special re-release. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. All right. Well, everybody, I'm gonna go through our whole little spiel. Um, please rate, review. If you're listening, Apple Podcasts is the best place to do it because you can put some words to your thoughts and give us a review on there. But if you don't listen on Apple, and just leave us a rating wherever. If you're on YouTube, please make sure you like, subscribe, and then click the bell so you'll get notified when new episodes come out. Because honestly, I take my time with the video editing. It doesn't come out as regularly as our audio podcasts do. And we have a subscriptions page through Buzzsprout currently. So if you want to support the show, check us out on there and follow us on social media.
Yeah.
We'll get better at it at some point. We just
At some point.
we need to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
We kind of suck at it.
We suck at it right now, but I think like in the new year, I'm going to be working a different job and I have a little more time. And I think that's going to be a good thing.
Okay. And if you want to email us for any apparent reason, UTGN podcast, UTGN podcast at gmail.com is where you can reach us.
Yep.
All right, everybody. Happy December. See you later. Have a great evening.
Happy Advent.
Advent's here.
Advent's among us. Upon us. Yeah.
All right, everybody. Good night. See you later.